Hey everybody, what up though? It's your homie, the one and the only Brian, the Brainiac. But no, happy Black History Month, you guys. I am here today to talk about another Black medical history fact that you may or may not know. And this one is a real kicker, you guys. Are you ready for this? Because this is a really intense story. It's crazy. Let's talk about it. Now, when people talk about the father of modern gynecology, they often talk about innovation, right? But they don't talk about the women who were screaming, okay? They don't talk about the women who couldn't say no. So today, we're talking about them and we're saying their names, okay? Now, Lucy and Betsy, remember those two names. They're two Black women whose pain built modern medicine, okay? And their names are of those whose like names were almost erased, and it's crazy. Now, this is not a story about like a great doctor or whatever. This is a story about what medicine was willing to do to Black women, okay? Just for like the advancement. Now get ready, because this story will really knock your socks off. Like, it's like a really big eye-opener, honestly, or at least it was for me, okay? Now, in the 1800s, enslaved Black people were considered, like, they were not considered patients. They were considered property. Completely different P word, okay? Like, doctors didn't need consent from enslaved people, only permission from their enslavers, like their slave masters, okay? Their slave owners. And Black women in particular were believed to feel less pain. Like, so they were biologically different to them. And to be ideal subjects for experimentation, okay? This is one of them stories, okay? This belief wasn't accidental. It was just racism dressed up as science, okay? Now, that brings me to the stars of our episode today, y'all. I'm talking about Miss Lucy and Miss Betsy, all right? Now, Lucy and Betsy were enslaved women, like, suffering from vesico-vaginal fistulas. I'm saying it wrong, probably. But it's a devastating childbirth injury that causes chronic pain and incontinence, okay? Now, instead of being treated with dignity, they were handed over to James Marion Sims. Between the 1840s and 1850s, Sims performed multiple experimental surgeries on Lucy and Betsy and other enslaved women. No anesthesia, no consent, no choice, okay? Now, specifically, Lucy, my homegirl Lucy, she underwent 30 surgeries, right? She developed infections, you feel me? She nearly died from blood poisoning. And still the experiments continued. They just kept working on her, just kept cutting into her, doing whatever. Now, these surgeries, whole time, mind you, they weren't private, okay? They were not private, closed-off surgeries. They were performed in front of medical students, turning Lucy and Betsy into, like, live demonstrations. Air quotes, okay? Now, let's talk about these, like, terrible things Dr. Sims did to our new homegirls, Lucy and Betsy, okay? This is a trigger warning, because it's about to get really serious. When I was reading through all of it, doing my research, my stomach started turning, my eyes like teared up and stuff. My heart began to ache, like all the whole inside of my body started feeling like terrible. So please prepare yourself. Either that or just fast forward about 2 to 3 minutes, okay? But no, it's about to get real. But no, like, what Sims was actually doing to Lucy and Betsy, like, when Mr. Sims or whatever, I don't even want to call him Dr. Sims, because it's up there with him, okay? But no, when he began operating on Lucy and Betsy, he was not performing established surgery, mind you. He was experimenting. There was no proven procedure for vesico-vaginal fistulas. I'm still saying it wrong. at the time. Sims was developing techniques by trial and error, using enslaved women because they couldn't legally refuse. They could be forced to endure repeat procedures, and their pain was considered irrelevant. Like, could you imagine you at the hospital and you're telling your doctor how much pain you're in, and he's like, okay, irrelevant, whatever, you're black, so you're lying, you just want some drugs. Like, come on now. It's the caucasity for me, okay? Like, I don't understand what's really wrong with him. And that ain't even half the story, y'all. It's still, let's keep talking about it. Now, Lucy and Betsy were routinely placed in what became known as the knee-chest position. So, like, knees to chest. Literally knees to chest. Yeah. Like, knees bent under the body, chest pressed down, pelvis elevated. And this position was physically exhausting and humiliating. Because remember, mind you, they're in front of all of these medical students. Like, and then they had to hold it for long periods of time with no anesthesia. This is rough. This is terrible. They're like fully exposed, often naked, while Sims and other doctors like observed all up their hoo-ha, their hot pocket. This wasn't just surgery. It was public medical humiliation. Like, I can't believe it. But now let's talk about these terrible rudimentary tools that Sims used to perform these inhumane, unlawful practices, okay? Now, Sims would normally and routinely use metal speculums he designed himself. Before this, gynecology tools were like rare. So, yeah, he made them himself. But he would cut and stitch delicate, like, internal tissue repeatedly. He used silver wire sutures, which were experimental and painful. He also frequently reopened wounds that, like, had not even healed yet. Like, what is going on? Now, think of this, though. Because there was no anesthesia, Lucy and Betsy were fully conscious. They were often physically restrained by other enslaved women or assistants. It makes me think of that show, Ruthless, by Tyler Perry. Oh, my goodness. We're going to talk about that at a different time. But no, their screaming and their crying and begging was documented as expected. Like, of course it's expected. Look at what you're doing to these women. It's okay. I'm not going to get worked up. But Sims later wrote that the women endured agonizing suffering, but framed it as necessary. Like, do y'all hear this? This is crazy. But Lucy's experience stands out even among Sims' own records. She underwent more than 30 operations. During one surgery, she developed a severe infection, sepsis, and she nearly died after Sims left a sponge inside her body. Like, I know my Grey's Anatomy fans remember that one time, like, when they left that lac pad inside of that patient, that it got really bad, remember? So this is terrible. This is tough. But instead of stopping, Sims continued experimenting once she was stabilized. Mind you, Lucy did not consent to any of this. Never, not at once. Nothing. At this point, like, her survival was treated as proof that the experimentation could continue. What in the world? Now, Betsy was often operated on after Sims practiced techniques on other women. In Sims' own words, Betsy was considered more cooperative, and she was used to refine techniques before testing them on white patients later. Like, she was the guinea pig type thing, you feel me? And that language matters, y'all. She was not seen as a patient, she was seen as a means to an end. Now, I know you're thinking, like, this must be before anesthesia was invented. Hold on, I got something for you about. Now, other anesthesia was introduced in 1846, during the period when Sims was operating, y'all. Now, here's how demonically, like, terrible this guy really is. Sims did not use anesthesia on Lucy or Betsy. He did use anesthesia later on white women, but his justification relied on the racist belief that black women felt less pain. Come on now, be for real for me. Now, this was not ignorance. This was a choice, y'all. a choice to be a terrible person and cause his own, like, wild chaos. Now, once Sims perfected his technique, he stopped experimenting on enslaved women. He took his procedures to white patients. He gained fame, wealth, and recognition, but Lucy and Betsy received no credit, no compensation, no medical follow-up, no recorded freedom because of what they endured. Like, history moved on without them. History just said, okay, cool, it was a good time. Thanks for everything we took from you. Bye. Like, be for real now. Come on. What makes this horrific isn't just the pain. It's that their suffering was documented clinically. Their humanity was irrelevant to their success. Their trauma became the foundation of a medical specialty. Gynecology advanced because Lucy and Betsy were unprotected. Like, Lucy and Betsy were not patients in a hospital. They were experimental subjects in a system that believed their pain did not matter. And modern gynecology was built on that lie. I said it. Government probably finna come after me after this video. But Lucy, Betsy, and Dr. Sims are not the only medical story with this type of history, y'all. This is just one of many terrible ways black people were treated and viewed back in the day. These are the stories that tells you how America was actually made, okay? But I need some coffee real quick. That was a lot, wasn't it? Yeah, I know. But now you see why I had to put, like, the whole disclaimer, like, up at the start of the video, right? Exactly. American history is gruesome when you tell the whole truth. And you are not, like, you can't be out here trying to lie to the children and, like, paint slavery as a good thing for black people. We helped them. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Like, don't even lie like that. Like, are you crazy? But let me not get too worked up. I didn't get all worked up through this story, and my coffee cup is a little bit empty now. But nonetheless, I really hope you guys learned something new today. I'm not telling you to go out here and start hating on these doctors or, like, medical professionals or nothing. They didn't do anything. But I'm just letting you know how things really started off back in the day. Like, this is not a scare tactic video. It's not clickbait. None of that. I'm not trying to divide the sides any more than they already are. But, like, I'm just trying to tell y'all what the real is, okay? But that's enough for today. Thank you so much for listening to me talk about history. I appreciate your views. Hey, if you learned something new, let me know down in the comments. And make sure you stay connected by following me and subscribing to my YouTube channel and all the other influencer stuff that I'm supposed to say on the internet and all that good stuff. But no, for real, y'all, I'm happy to get this out there, because this is something I feel like we really need to, like, everybody should know, in the, like, keep it in the, like, back files in your brain type of thing, okay? But nonetheless, y'all, I'm gonna sign off here. Just do me a favor and remember to stay safe, stay clean, and that Breon loves you. Bye. Mwah. See you next episode. I need some more coffee.